We really have to ask ourselves. I asked myself, did I ever say I wanted to be white? I believe I did say this quite when I was way younger, only because of noticing the distinguishing of differences of how I was being treated. Not only from a white girl, black girl perspective, but a bright skinned black girl compared to a darker skinned black girl. Or even rich to poor aspect from either or. So then I ask again, did I truly want to be white? It was only because of the pain and the anguish of what I was going through that I'm just now coming to the understanding of when we let Eve know who she was, she disrespected us because the black man crowned her as such better than his own. And manipulated ways to keep women hating themselves and each other that also have different agendas of and delusional agendas of self-hate and hate of each other and ourselves on the mass level and the mass scale. Thus, the situation I just got out of, where the woman's so-called, employee, pulled a gun out on me. She would remind me every day how she wanted to be like white people. I seen her delusional self, and then I seen the curious self of her wanting to know why I was so happy with myself, even though I didn't have all the so-called great things that she claimed to have and did have. It was great to her, but it was nothing that I could want to hate about her or made me want to really change anything about her, but to help her heal naturally. And her delusional self would look at me as if, why is she so happy? She's living in a car. Why is she so happy? She is letting me fuck her over in this way. Knowing that what she was doing, which why I understand now why things happened the way that they did. She was trying to build insecurity and self-hate in me that I have already conquered. I had already been, possibly tore down to the bare minimum of what humanity deems as justifiable, politically correct as a black woman. But knowing my lineage and my heritage of where I came from originally, and what my ancestors worked so hard to regain back and distinguish and annihilate those factors of what was asinine to my being, my spirituality, and the enslavement of the enduring of centuries of public humiliations as well as backdoor humiliations. People have now taken that to so much of a discriminatory outlook, even when people are sick now. Instead of educating themselves on how to protect themselves, but discriminate against other people and make them feel shameful of something that is very basic and simple to deal with. which is also still discriminatory, racist, ignorant, lack of knowledge, lack of empathy. So even in the instance of our own ignorance, we can still put love in our hearts as well as wisdom and knowledge. We have the balance of those. Don't stop now. Keep going. Which now I know why. Because not only has the so-called typical CEO own their own business black woman became so discriminatory towards herself and wanted to be like the white woman. Do you not know that the white woman wants to be like you? Confirmation. Do you not know that they have went through centuries of decades to enslave and make and keep reforming new waves of slavery to your own ignorance? To be like you, so you think you are being like her when it came from your generational lineage and your ancestors that got thrown off of ships, stolen from Africa, or enslaved. And yet, ain't no offense to anybody that is not this way or is coming to an understanding of why things the way that they are. Just come to the understanding and realize black people still struggle all their life because of self-hate that is taught to us. It is taught to us subliminally through TVs, commercials that we see, and how black people are treated, and how our own black men treat black women, and how it becomes disgustingly about money and resources. Because when it comes down to it, what have you learned all your life about who you are? You have been taught nothing but slavery was your heritage in educational systems. Possibly on up until maybe about college, to where you start learning the truth about, hey, you are kings and queens unless you just got YouTube. As I was teaching my children as well. The subliminal raping of the mind that we have been through, of the body, the mind, body, and soul, of torture and scrutiny we have been through the educational systems, through passive aggressively television, advertisements, and thinking that we have to wear straight hair and not our natural hair, that does not look good. Not all people like this color. which is platinum blonde. Of course, it's in my tinted rose gold girl, because I love that color, with the platinum blonde, because I love to display the wisdom that is also attributed through me from my generational lineages of ancestors of kings and queens that originated from Africa. There is no such thing as an Indian. The black woman is the only one that can have all colors of the rainbow. Rainbow children. So, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but obviously there's so much self-hate and jealousy, of course, of this toxic way of women being jealous of their own children, whether it be same-sex or other than a different sex, that you are to demean and demasculate your son in such a way to where he would hate women. Which hating himself would ultimately saying, oh, well, this comes from a black woman. Why was my mother a unhealed, toxic black woman? Now, the only fault of her own is which she does not seek healing. She does not know where to go heal. And she is stuck in a system that honestly does not promote healing. Rather, it get focused on still codependency. Even if she was to make it up in a corporate situation, to be so demeaning and vile, to want to take somebody else's life. Because it could jeopardize some insurance. When in all actuality, that's why I don't like insurance, whether it be car insurance, life insurance, dental insurance, because you can create your own insurance by dental using black charcoal toothpaste. It does not have fluoride in it to decay your teeth and to rot them out, to promote cavities. Because I can tell you, I really have not had any toothache since I started using charcoal toothpaste. Which I was like, wow, this is the most passive aggressive bullshit of teeth industry bullshit that I've ever seen. It goes along with pharmaceuticals. Health insurance, self-discipline, and becoming vegan, plant-based, owning your own fucking land. Instead of trying to kill for housing and wait for your mother or your grandmother or your aunt to die to pass it on to you or to help them along just so they can die and pass it on to you or someone else in the family that you guys plotted on together. Or just a random person you met that you say, hey, I know people, I got different connections in different places, and I can use this to my advantage and steal their identification and try to get through lawyers and work up some paperwork saying that, hey, she trusted me into this grand venture of property that was left to her. We live in this profoundly sick society where common sense is no longer common. where violence is well known and pronounced, where authority figures are now scared shitless because they've been doing this for so long and people have caught on to where, people have connection in all these same places that police officers have. Now nobody wants to go to prison for this. Now nobody wants to admit to it. They want to keep up a chain of murdering cycles in order to hold on to this grand leisure of their liking, and have taught this to other people to do so. 555. A great change has come. I already told you guys. God wasn't playing. Still ain't. And I'm telling you, the more bullshit I see of hate spread, I want to kill you, or I want to say you do black magic and have you set up and have you fucked up, and that's not even your get down. What's in the phone? Oh shit, start leaking. These bugaboos, bro. You wouldn't need no health insurance if you ate right, if you were taught to eat right, if you weren't taught to be a cannibal and eat animals in the first damn place. That's why you were stolen from Africa. We coexisted with what was created because we knew we were one. And we ate nothing but from the garden. When some motherfucker came along and said, don't eat of the garden now. You getting it just a little bit. The herbs and everything else in Africa holds a way higher alkaline value of grandeur of the original state before there was anything else, and it still will to today. Why? Because they have land. They have tribes. Where are our tribes? This bullshit, murder and killing each other for insurance, this is tribal? No, this is motherfucking a monstrosity. This is a shame, a shamble, a sham, a conundrum of a clusterfuck of the lies, of the deceit, of the trail that was left behind, of the story that we were told. They beat and raped and mind fucked us until we were asleep. This is why it was dangerous to teach slaves how to read, because the lies were in the words. The lies were in the spells that were written. to know that if we could learn to read, we could learn to discern, we would feel. They beat us until we were numb. Our ancestors would be able to say, hey, wake up, get a clue. Read in between those lines. What do you think it says? They beat us into not thinking and shamed us for it when it wasn't an original language anyway. So now we have been taught to beat and shame our children and discipline our children for not learning rubbish bullshit that leads to rubbish behavior and attributes. And yet, we still don't have land. We do not have 40 acres and a mule. And that is so motherfucking true. That shit came from Africa. And they brought us over here to fuck us again. Twice, 3 times over. But yet, our brothers and our sisters have fought in Africa to keep a piece of tribal knowledge and wisdom. I'm getting chills as I'm saying this. Hoping and praying that one day we would also be able to wake up. And I'm glad that they have. But if you don't learn to fight in the right way and stop trying to murder and pillage and plunder your own people, and being the black devils as the white devils have been of the elites of this place have tried to take over and manipulate in formats and have your women stalked, framed as crazy, as well as the men. So, depending on what trap they fell in, we fell in, especially the trap with fighting amongst ourselves and each other, within ourselves and each other. Then and only then, when we have unity, somebody got to start somewhere. You can't just say, oh, that's never going to happen. No, well, because you don't want it to happen. If you don't want self-control, you won't have self-control. If you cannot contain and obtain your fucking self off of some basic shit to have fucking freedom, like eating right, and using the right toothpaste, if there's so many fucking black millionaires now, what are the principalities that they are standing on? You must ask, should ask. Because even a lot of white people are saying now, like, what the fuck have we done? There are other races that are waking up, like, what the fuck have we done? How can we fix this? But making no attempts to. Some are, and they're being killed for it, harassed, stalked, tracked like animals. So, when and who and where is somebody going to take action and be consistent about it as much as they have been consistent about divide and conquer? You have to understand that divide and conquer has been their ultimate goal. Knowing how to fight angels and no, not angels, knowing how to fight demons and be more angelic. And trust me, if you've been made it this far, you have been protected, and you should say thank you. You should be grateful for the air, the most simplistic things. You should be able to be grateful to walk. There's plenty of things that people have to be grateful for. But when they have sacrificed everyone that they know, and they have all that money, all the cars, all the homes, all the holes in the clothes, I suppose, they still commit suicide, or somebody uses them as a sacrifice. What is your happiness? Because trust me, you can't eat a rainbow child. You cannot eat a fucking troll and be happy. The happiness starts within you and finding out who you are and how you got there and what needs to be done to make it justifiably right. Sacrifices are to be celebrated, not killed. Sacrifices are to be upheld in high honor and not killed. So, be childlike, not childish. Start somewhere every day, every moment, every time, every thought, every feeling. Take others into consideration besides your own self, but also create healthy boundaries. It's a juggling act. It's not fucking easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy. So, it is.